A millionaire sees his childhood love begging with two 3-year-old twin children and recognizes her. But what he does next is unbelievable. Before we start the story, comment below which city you're watching from. Enjoy the story, everyone. Logan Bennett, a ruthless millionaire, was crossing a busy street corner when something caught his attention. A woman, dressed in dirty, worn clothes with disheveled hair, was sitting on the sidewalk. Her face was tired and marked by suffering. Beside her, two little girls, twins about 4 years old, wore tattered clothes. One of them was quietly crying, rubbing her eyes with small, dirty hands. "Sweetheart, it's okay. Someone will help us soon," the woman murmured, stroking the child's hair with a trembling voice full of desperate love. Logan felt a pang in his chest. He knew that face, even through the dirt and pain. It couldn't be, but it was. Olivia Carter, the love of his youth, the girl he used to admire from afar. She had never noticed him in school, except to mock his awkward attempts to get her attention. Now she was here, vulnerable and helpless. Logan approached slowly, his heart racing. "Olivia?" he called hesitantly. The woman slowly lifted her head, her eyes widening as she recognized the voice. "Logan?" For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence between them was heavy with painful memories. Then Olivia lowered her gaze, as if wishing to disappear. "What happened to you?" he asked, unable to hide his concern. Olivia looked away, clutching the girls even tighter. "It doesn't matter. We're fine. Go away, Logan." But Logan couldn't ignore what he saw. One of the girls was sobbing from hunger, while the other clung to her mother's arm, staring at him with wide, frightened eyes. The pain and despair of the scene hit him like a blow. "You're not fine. Come with me. I'll help you." "No, I can't," Olivia began to protest. "I'm not leaving you and your daughters out here in the cold. You're coming with me, and I won't take no for an answer." The girls looked at him, curious yet cautious. The one who had been crying pressed her lips together, holding back her tears. Olivia hesitated, but Logan's determined gaze made her relent. She knew she had no other choice. Logan pulled out his phone and called his driver. "Be here in 5 minutes," he said before putting the phone away. "Let's go. There's no reason for you to stay here." He extended his hand to Olivia, who reluctantly took it. When the car arrived, Logan helped Olivia get in, carrying one of the girls while she held the other. The children were exhausted, their faces resting on their mother's shoulders. During the ride to Logan's mansion, the silence was oppressive. Olivia stared out the window, lost in thought. Logan glanced at her occasionally, trying to understand how her life had fallen apart. When they arrived, Olivia looked visibly uncomfortable. The grand mansion, with its warm lights and immaculate garden, seemed like another world. "You don't have to do this, Logan. We can. No more arguing, Olivia. You'll come inside, eat something, and rest." The housekeeper, Mrs. Harper, opened the door with a surprised expression but said nothing. Logan instructed her to prepare a room for Olivia and the girls. While Mrs. Harper took care of that, Logan brought Olivia and the children to the living room. He lit the fireplace, creating a cozy warmth, and asked for food to be prepared for them. "Thank you, Logan." "Really? Thank you," Olivia said, her eyes brimming with tears as the girls curled up on the sofa beside her. Logan nodded, his mind racing. He knew that this night was just the beginning. Tomorrow, he needed to understand what had truly happened to Olivia and how she had ended up here. The sun was just beginning to peek through the windows of Logan's mansion. But Olivia was already awake. Sitting on the edge of the bed, she watched her twins, Harper and Hazel, who were still sleeping soundly. For the first time in a long time, her daughters were warm and comfortable. That should have eased her heart, but instead, she felt a growing knot in her throat. Across the mansion, Logan was also awake, sitting in his office, thinking about everything he had seen the night before. The image of Olivia on the sidewalk, holding her children, wouldn't leave his mind. He needed to understand how this had happened. After all, the Olivia he had known in school had been confident, full of life, someone who seemed destined for great things. Shortly after, the housekeeper knocked gently on Olivia's door. "Miss Carter, breakfast is ready. Mr. Bennett would like you and the girls to come down." Olivia thanked him and woke the twins. A few minutes later, they went downstairs together to the dining room, where a generous breakfast spread awaited them. The girls ran excitedly to the chairs, delighted by the variety of fruits, breads, and juices. Olivia, however, hesitated. Please, have a seat, Logan said, appearing in the doorway. He was wearing a crisp white dress shirt and looked relaxed, though his eyes revealed a serious undertone. Thank you, Olivia replied, pulling out a chair while watching Harper and Hazel eat enthusiastically. During the meal, an awkward silence lingered between Logan and Olivia. He knew he needed to tread carefully, but he was determined to understand the truth. When the girls finished eating, the housekeeper took them to play in a nearby room. Olivia remained seated, now alone with Logan. He rested his elbows on the table and looked her straight in the eye. Olivia, we need to talk. I want to understand what happened to you. She averted her gaze, clasping her hands in her lap. It's not a story I like to tell. I'm not here to judge, I just want to help. Logan paused, choosing his words carefully. When I saw you yesterday, you and your daughters were in a situation that, well, it doesn't happen overnight. What happened, Olivia? She took a deep breath, closing her eyes for a moment before beginning to speak. After we graduated high school, I started dating Jake Miller. You remember him, don't you? He was the most popular guy in school. Logan nodded, his jaw tightening at the mention of the name. He remembered Jake all too well. Someone everyone admired, yet who wouldn't hesitate to hurt others to get what he wanted. Jake and I started dating right after prom. I was in love and thought he felt the same. A few months later, I found out I was pregnant. When I told him, I thought we'd face it together, but he abandoned me. He said he wasn't ready to be a father and didn't want the responsibility. That was the last time I saw him. Logan clenched his fists on the table, struggling to contain the anger welling up inside him. He just left you? Olivia nodded, her eyes brimming with tears. Yes, I was alone, with no support. My parents couldn't help much, and I did what I could to provide for the girls, but it wasn't enough. I eventually lost my job, and over time, the bills piled up. When Harper and Hazel were 2 years old, we were evicted from our apartment. Since then, we've been living on the streets, relying on the kindness of strangers. Logan sat in silence, processing everything he'd just heard. The Olivia he had once known was strong, but life had broken her in ways he never imagined. Why didn't you ever ask for help? He finally asked, his voice softer now. I was ashamed, Olivia admitted. Ashamed of how my life had fallen apart. I didn't want anyone to see me like this, especially someone like you. Logan took a deep breath, feeling a mix of compassion and sadness. Olivia, no one deserves to go through this. You're not alone anymore. I'll help you and your daughters get back on your feet. Why, Logan? Why are you doing all this? He hesitated but knew he had to be honest. Because, despite everything, I care about you. I've always cared. Olivia sat in silence, unable to respond. Logan's words echoed in her mind as she tried to process everything that was happening. That night, as Olivia tucked the girls into bed, she reflected on what Logan had said. For the first time in years, she felt a spark of hope. But she also knew that accepting help meant facing her deepest fears and rebuilding her life from scratch. The next morning, as sunlight poured through the mansion's large windows, Olivia woke to the soft laughter of Harper and Hazel playing on the carpet beside the bed. For a moment, she felt like she was dreaming. It was hard to believe that just 24 hours earlier, she'd been sitting on a sidewalk, unsure where their next meal would come from. She stretched and called the girls to get ready. Fresh clothes had been set out in the room, carefully chosen by the housekeeper. Olivia was struck by the thoughtfulness, though she still felt out of place in such a luxurious setting. When they went downstairs for breakfast, Logan was already in the living room, reviewing some papers. He looked up when he heard the twins' footsteps and gave a faint smile. "Did you sleep well?" he asked. Harper nodded eagerly, while Hazel shyly held her mother's hand. "Yes, it was the best night we've had in a long time," Olivia replied, a touch of gratitude in her voice. "I'm glad to hear that." Logan gestured for them to sit. "You don't have to worry about anything today. I want you to rest. The girls can play in the garden or wherever they like." Olivia hesitated. "Logan, I don't know how to thank you for all of this, but I don't want to take advantage of your kindness. As soon as I can, I'll find a job and—" Logan raised a hand, stopping her. "There's no rush, Olivia. Before anything else, you need to recover. Don't worry about timelines. We'll figure this out together." Despite his reassuring words, Olivia still felt a weight on her chest. Accepting help didn't come naturally to her. However, her daughter's well-being came first, and for their sake, she swallowed her pride. After breakfast, Harper and Hazel went to play in the garden under the housekeeper's supervision. Olivia, meanwhile, helped clear the dishes, feeling uneasy about not contributing more. Logan found her in the kitchen, shaking his head as he saw her trying to wash the dishes. "Olivia, you don't have to do that." "I need to do something, Logan. I don't feel right just taking everything without giving back." Logan sighed. "If that's how you feel, fine. But for now, I want to talk about the girls. Do they have everything they need?" Olivia paused, thinking. "They need a few things like clothes and shoes. What they have is old and worn." "Great, let's go out and get what they need." Olivia's eyes widened. "That's not necessary, Logan. I can manage later." "No discussion," Logan said with a gentle smile. "I'll get the car." Half an hour later, Olivia, Harper, and Hazel were in a children's store downtown, with Logan watching closely. The girls were delighted, running between the racks and trying on new clothes. "Can I really get this, Mommy?" Harper asked, holding a sparkling blue dress. Olivia's heart ached at the sight of her daughter's bright, hopeful eyes. "Yes, sweetheart, you can." Hazel, the more reserved twin, held up a pair of new sneakers. "Me too, Mommy?" Olivia nodded with an emotional smile. "You too, my love." Logan watched silently, pleased to see the girls so happy. After picking out clothes, shoes, and a few toys, he took them to a restaurant for lunch. During lunch, the twins chattered excitedly, sharing stories and playing with each other. Olivia watched them, feeling a sense of relief as she saw them smiling at last. "You've done so much for us today, Logan." "Thank you," Olivia said sincerely. "I've only done what anyone should do." Logan replied casually. "You deserve this." Olivia lowered her eyes, the shame creeping back. She knew Logan was being kind, but she couldn't help remembering how she had treated him in the past. "You're a much better person than I was to you, Logan," she murmured, almost inaudibly. Logan frowned. "Olivia, the past is behind us. What matters now is what we do moving forward." She nodded, though the guilt still lingered. When they returned to the mansion, the twins ran straight to the garden, showing off their new clothes. Olivia watched them from the living room window, a smile on her face. For the first time in years, she felt safe. Logan, standing beside her, broke the silence. "They're incredible little girls. They're my strength to keep going. Even in the worst moments, they gave me a reason to move forward." Logan looked at her with admiration. "You're stronger than you realize, Olivia. To go through everything you have and still stand tall. That's something few people can do you?" She sighed. "I don't know if it's strength or just stubbornness, but either way, thank you." Logan smiled. "If you ever need anything, you know you can count on me." Olivia nodded, finally feeling that she could trust someone besides herself. The next morning, Olivia woke up to the soft sunlight streaming through the curtains. Harper and Hazel were still fast asleep, their faces relaxed, free from the worries they had carried on the streets. Olivia watched her daughters for a moment, feeling a mix of relief and hope. Maybe starting over was possible after all. After getting dressed, she went downstairs and found Logan in the kitchen, sipping coffee and reading the newspaper. He looked up when he heard her footsteps and smiled. "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" "Yes, thank you. And you?" "Like a rock," he replied, folding the newspaper and standing up. "I made coffee for you too. Have a seat." Olivia thanked him, feeling strangely at ease with the routine that was starting to form. As she sipped her coffee, Logan sat across from her and said, "I was thinking, now that the girls are more comfortable, we can start focusing on you." "On me?" she asked, surprised. "Yes. You mentioned wanting to work again. What kind of job are you looking for?" Olivia stayed quiet for a moment, weighing her options. "I don't have an academic background, so my options are limited, but I'm willing to do anything that allows me to support my daughters." Logan nodded. "That makes sense, but what if you could study, finish your education, and get a job that truly brings you fulfillment?" Her eyes widened. "Study? That's out of the question, Logan. I don't have the time or resources for that. You'd have both here. I can help with the expenses and make sure the girls are well cared for while you study." Olivia shook her head, incredulous. "You've already done so much for us. I can't accept anything more." Logan leaned forward, his expression serious. Olivia, this isn't just about you. It's about Harper and Hazel. If you have the chance to grow stronger, it'll benefit your daughters in the long run. Please think about it. Logan's words struck Olivia deeply. She knew he was right, but she still struggled with her pride and shame. That evening, after putting the twins to bed, Logan asked Olivia to meet him in his office. He had something important to discuss. Olivia, I have a proposal for you, he began, handing her a small envelope. She opened it to find information about business and entrepreneurship courses. I want you to consider taking these courses. You're smart and determined, and I believe you have the potential to achieve great things. This will give you the tools to support yourself and create a better future for your daughters. Olivia looked at the papers, her mind racing to process the offer. Logan, this is too much. I'm not sure I can do it. You're more capable than you think, and you don't have to decide right now. Just consider it. Olivia held the papers tightly, feeling torn between fear and hope. In the days that followed, Olivia began to reflect on Logan's proposal. Gradually, she realized this could be her chance to change her life and, most importantly, give her daughters the future they deserved. Finally, after much thought, she agreed. She enrolled in the courses and, with Logan's support, began studying during the day while the twins were cared for by the housekeeper. Although the beginning was challenging, Olivia felt reinvigorated as she learned new skills and rediscovered a side of herself she thought she'd lost. Each day was a small victory, and she clung to the idea that she was building something lasting. Logan closely followed her progress, offering encouragement and support whenever she needed it. He knew Olivia needed to believe in herself as much as he believed in her. Olivia, in turn, started to realize how important Logan had become in her life. His constant presence and unwavering support were slowly breaking down the barriers she had built over the years. Olivia's routine was changing quickly. In the mornings, while Harper and Hazel played in the garden, she spent hours studying in the office Logan had set up for her. At first, every page she read felt like climbing a mountain, but over time, she found her rhythm. Logan's steady and unwavering support motivated her even more. One afternoon, as Olivia reviewed her notes, Logan walked into the room with a serious expression. She immediately sensed something was wrong. "We need to talk," he said, closing the door behind him. Olivia felt her stomach tighten. "What is it?" "I found someone from your past," Logan replied, sitting across from her. Jake Miller. The name thundered in Olivia's mind. Jake, the man who had abandoned her when she needed him most. The father of her daughters, who had never acknowledged them. Olivia took a deep breath, trying to control the wave of emotions. "What does he have to do with this?" she asked, her voice steadier than she expected. "I've been looking into some things. I wanted to understand better what happened to you after school. I found Jake and decided to confront him." "You did what?" Olivia stood, startled. "I needed to know the truth about what he did to you and why he abandoned you and the girls." "Logan, you had no right to do that." "Maybe not, but I did it for you." Olivia stayed silent, her chest tight. She knew Logan meant well, but bringing Jake back into her life felt like reopening a wound that hadn't fully healed. "What did he say?" she finally asked, her voice hesitant. Logan rested his elbows on the table and sighed. "He admitted everything. He said he knew you were pregnant but didn't want to take responsibility. He claimed it was easier to disappear." Let's play a little game for those who only read the comments. Type pizza in the comments. Only those who make it this far will understand. Now let's get back to the story. Olivia felt her anger rise like a tide. She hadn't expected anything different from Jake, but hearing those words out loud still stung. "Did he mention the girls?" she asked, her eyes brimming with tears. "No. He didn't even ask about them." Olivia clenched her fists, trying to hold back her tears. As much as she despised Jake, a part of her had always hoped that one day he would show remorse or at least some curiosity about the daughters he had abandoned. Logan stood and placed a hand on her shoulder. "Olivia, you don't have to face this alone. I'm here." She looked at him, struggling to resist the urge to break down. "Thank you, Logan, but there are things I have to handle on my own." That night, after putting the girls to bed, Olivia sat at the kitchen table, staring at a cup of tea that had gone cold. Logan's words echoed in her mind, and the thought of Jake lingered like a shadow. She knew that to move forward, she had to confront the past once and for all. In the days that followed, Olivia tried to resume her routine, but she couldn't focus. Memories of Jake and the confrontation Logan had mentioned weighed on her like an anchor. Logan, noticing the change in her demeanor, decided to give her space, but watched her with concern. One morning, Olivia made a decision. She picked up the phone and called Jake. He answered after a few rings, his voice indifferent on the other end of the line. "Jake, it's Olivia. We need to talk." There was silence for a few seconds before he replied. "About what? It's been so long." "It's about the girls. You've never wanted to know anything about them, but that needs to change. Not for me, but for them." Jake sighed. "Olivia, I've already made it clear. I don't want to be part of this. What do you want me to say? That I'm sorry? Because I'm not." Olivia's heart tightened, but she kept her voice steady. "So you'll never meet them? Never take any responsibility?" "I've moved on, Olivia. I think you should too." Before she could respond, the line went dead. She stood there, holding the phone, trying to process the emptiness left by that conversation. It was the closure she needed, but also a harsh confirmation that Jake would never be part of her daughter's lives. When Logan arrived that evening, he found Olivia sitting on the couch, with the twins asleep beside her. He sat down next to her, waiting silently for her to speak first. "I talked to Jake," she finally said, breaking the silence. Logan frowned. "And how did it go?" "As I expected. He doesn't want anything to do with them. He feels nothing." Logan clenched his fists, his anger evident. "He doesn't know what he's missing." Olivia looked at her daughters and sighed. "I didn't do it for him. I did it for the girls. I needed to be sure there was nothing left to expect from him." "And now?" Logan asked. "Now I move on. I don't want the girls growing up under the shadow of a father who never cared." Logan nodded, admiring the strength Olivia was showing. He knew she still carried the pain, but he could also see a renewed determination in her. The next morning, Logan surprised Olivia with a small gift. A notebook and an elegant pen. "What's this?" she asked, curious. "A tool for you to plan your future. I want you to write down your goals and what you need to achieve them. We'll work on it together." Olivia smiled, touched by the gesture. "Thank you, Logan. I don't know what I'd do without you. You'd do exactly what you're doing now, rebuilding. I'm just here to make sure you have every chance to succeed." With Logan's support, Olivia continued her studies, determined to create a better life for herself and her daughters. The confrontation with Jake had been painful, but it was also freeing. Now, she knew she no longer had to look back. Days passed in an increasingly organized routine. Olivia now focused entirely on her studies and raising the twins, while Logan remained by her side, offering unwavering support. The relationship between the two grew deeper and more natural, marked by shared understanding and small acts of care. One afternoon, as Olivia reviewed her notes in the living room, Logan walked in with a folder in hand and a mysterious smile. She looked at him, intrigued. "What's that?" she asked, resting the notebook on her lap. "An opportunity," Logan replied, handing her the folder. Inside were documents and a preliminary contract. Olivia read the header, Project Assistant, Bennett Enterprises. She frowned and looked at Logan, confused. "Are you asking me to work for you?" "I'm not trying to pressure you, Olivia, but I thought this might be a good way for you to start your career while applying what you're learning. It's a temporary position with enough flexibility for you to keep studying and taking care of the girls." Olivia hesitated, reading through the details of the contract. The offer was generous, but she still felt unsure. Working directly with Logan could be complicated, given the emotional bond they were building. "Logan, I'm not sure I'm the right person for this. I don't have any experience." "You have more than you think. You're learning quickly and have already shown you can handle challenges, and I'm not offering this as a favor. I genuinely believe in your potential." Logan's words felt sincere, and Olivia could sense the weight of his encouragement. She knew taking this job would be a big step, but she also feared she might not live up to expectations. After a few seconds of silence, Olivia finally took a deep breath and smiled faintly. "All right, I'll do it." Logan smiled, clearly pleased. "You won't regret it. We'll take things slow, and over time, You'll see just how capable you are." The next morning, Olivia was introduced to Logan's team. Despite her initial nervousness, she quickly realized that he had chosen patient and understanding individuals to guide her. The job required organization, attention to detail, and the ability to manage deadlines. But Olivia faced each challenge with determination. The twins also seemed happier and more settled into their new routine. They spent afternoons playing in the garden or drawing in the kitchen, filling the house, once quiet, with the sound of childish laughter and energy. Logan often joined them when he could, strengthening his bond with the girls. One evening, while Olivia was reviewing reports in the office, Logan walked in with 2 cups of tea. He set one beside her and sat on the nearby couch. "You're doing really well," he remarked, watching her. Olivia smiled, her cheeks warming slightly. "I still have a lot to learn, but I'm enjoying the challenge." "That's what matters. Growth comes through effort, and you're showing admirable strength." She looked away for a moment, trying to manage the wave of emotions his words stirred. "Thank you for believing in me, Logan. Truly." He simply smiled in response, and the silence that followed felt comfortable, almost intimate. Over the following weeks, the connection between Olivia and Logan deepened. Small gestures, like lingering glances or brief touches, hinted at feelings they were both hesitant to acknowledge. But there was no denying that something was changing. One afternoon, during a team meeting, Olivia presented an idea to streamline the logistics of a project, surprising everyone in the room. Logan, clearly proud, didn't hide his smile as he praised her initiative. "Excellent suggestion, Olivia. We'll implement this right away." She thanked him, feeling confident and fulfilled for the first time in years. At the end of the day, as the two walked to the parking lot, Logan stopped and looked her in the eye. "Olivia, do you realize how much you've grown since you got here?" She shook her head, smiling softly. "I still feel like I have so much to prove." "You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You're already amazing just as you are." Olivia's heart raced, and for a moment, the world around them seemed to fade. Logan stepped closer, as though he wanted to say more, but the sound of the twins running toward them interrupted him. "Mommy, look what we made!" Harper and Hazel shouted, holding up colorful drawings. Olivia laughed and knelt down to hug them. Logan watched the scene with a smile, feeling a deep sense of happiness just being with them. Later that night, as she tucked the girls into bed, Olivia reflected on how much her life had changed over the past few months. Logan's support, the affection he showed the twins, and the way he encouraged her to move forward meant more to her than she could put into words. As she lay down, she felt a mix of gratitude and apprehension. She knew she was falling for Logan, but a part of her still feared opening her heart again. Logan, on the other hand, found himself thinking about Olivia more and more. She was strong, resilient, and dedicated, qualities he deeply admired. Despite their complicated pasts, he felt there was something special between them, something worth exploring. In the weeks to come, these feelings would only grow harder to ignore. The nights in Logan's mansion grew increasingly quiet. After long days of work and play with Harper and Hazel, Olivia often found herself lost in deep reflection. Sitting on the edge of her bed with the lights dimmed, she thought about how much her life had changed. Yet, even surrounded by Logan's comfort and support, a shadow of the past still lingered over her. That night, Logan couldn't sleep either. He sat in the living room, staring at the flickering fire in the fireplace, his thoughts revolving around Olivia. Something about the way she withdrew at times troubled him. He knew they needed to have an honest conversation about what they were both feeling to move forward. The next morning, as Harper and Hazel played in the garden, Logan took the opportunity to approach Olivia. She was in the kitchen, organizing the groceries that had just arrived. Logan entered quietly, observing her for a moment before speaking. "Olivia, can we talk?" She paused, sensing from his tone that this wasn't an ordinary conversation. "Of course, what is it?" Logan gestured for her to follow him to the living room. They sat down and he began. "There's something I've wanted to say for a while, but I wasn't sure how." Olivia leaned forward slightly, her heart starting to race. "What is it?" "I deeply admire your strength and resilience, but I can see that you're still carrying a lot of guilt. I think it's time for you to let it go." She looked away, his words striking a sensitive chord. "Logan, I know I've made a lot of mistakes in the past. I made choices that brought me here, and sometimes I feel like I don't deserve the life you're offering me." Logan shook his head. "No one is perfect, Olivia. We all make mistakes. But you've been doing everything you can to overcome your challenges. You deserve this and so much more." His words felt like a soothing balm on wounds she had hidden for so long. Olivia took a deep breath, realizing it was time to confront her insecurities. "Logan, I've never apologized for how I treated you when we were younger. I was selfish and immature, and I didn't see the value of the people around me. I hurt you, and I'm sorry for that." Logan was silent for a moment, taking in her words. Finally, he said, "Olivia, the past doesn't matter anymore. We've both changed, and what matters now is what we're building together. I forgive you, and I hope you can forgive yourself." Tears welled in Olivia's eyes, but this time they weren't from sadness. It felt as if a tremendous weight was being lifted from her shoulders. She looked at Logan, who met her gaze with calm understanding. "Thank you, Logan, for everything. You don't need to thank me. I'm here because I want to be." That moment marked the start of a new chapter for them. The tension from the past began to fade, and they both felt they could finally open up to each other fully. In the days that followed, Olivia noticed a lightness in her heart she hadn't felt in years. She threw herself into her work and studies with renewed enthusiasm, while Logan continued to support her every step of the way. One evening, after putting the twins to bed, Olivia found Logan in the garden, sitting in one of the rocking chairs. The soft moonlight illuminated his face, and he seemed lost in thought. "Are you okay?" Olivia asked, sitting beside him. Logan smiled. "Yeah, I was just thinking about how much has changed. I remember when I saw you that night on the sidewalk, I never imagined we'd end up here." "Neither did I," Olivia admitted, "but I'm glad it happened." "Me too." The silence between them was comfortable, as though words weren't necessary. Logan looked at Olivia, the gentle glow of the moon reflecting in her eyes. He knew he was falling for her, but he didn't want to rush anything. "Olivia, do you believe in second chances?" he asked, breaking the silence. She smiled, pondering his question. "I think I'm starting to." Logan nodded, encouraged by her response. He knew they were heading toward something special, something both of them needed, but only time could solidify it. The next morning, Logan decided to plan a surprise for Olivia and the twins. He arranged a small trip to a nearby farm where they could spend the day outdoors, away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Harper and Hazel were ecstatic when they heard the idea, and Olivia, though surprised, was grateful for the chance to spend meaningful time with her daughters and Logan. The day was filled with laughter and unforgettable moments. The girls fed the farm animals, ran through the fields, and enjoyed homemade ice cream. Olivia, meanwhile, felt more connected to Logan than ever before. He seemed completely at ease, interacting with the twins as if he had always been part of their family. At the end of the day, as they drove home, Harper and Hazel were fast asleep in the back seat, exhausted but happy. Olivia watched Logan as he drove silently, a slight smile on his face. "Thank you for today," she said softly. "There's no need to thank me. It was a special day for all of us." "Yes, it was. And it meant so much to me to see the girls so happy." "This is just the beginning, Olivia. There are many more moments like this ahead of us." She smiled, warmed by his words. For the first time in years, she believed the future could be bright. When they arrived at the house, Logan carried the twins to their room, making sure they were comfortable before turning off the lights. Olivia stood nearby, moved by the care and dedication he showed. That night, as she lay in bed, Olivia felt ready to finally let go of the past. Logan was right. Second chances did exist, and she wouldn't waste the one she had been given. Mornings at Logan's mansion were now filled with life. Harper and Hazel ran through the house, laughing and filling the space with contagious joy. Logan, who had once lived a quiet life focused solely on work, found himself increasingly involved in the twins' routines and, more importantly, in Olivia's growth. One morning, Olivia was getting ready to leave. Logan had invited her to accompany him to an important meeting, an opportunity to observe how he handled negotiations and led his team. Though excited, she was also nervous. She didn't want to make any mistakes or feel out of place. "Are you ready?" Logan asked, waiting for her by the entrance. More or less? I hope I don't mess up. You'll do great, Olivia. Trust yourself. When they arrived at the company building, Olivia was impressed by its grandeur. Logan guided her to the meeting room, where several executives were already gathered. He introduced her as a promising collaborator, which made her feel both proud and slightly self-conscious. During the meeting, Olivia listened attentively, absorbing every detail. Logan encouraged her to share some of her ideas, and to her surprise, her suggestions were well received. You have a very clear perspective, one of the executives commented. Thank you. I'm still learning, but I'm glad I could contribute, Olivia replied with a modest smile. Logan watched the interaction with satisfaction. He had always known Olivia was capable, but seeing others recognize her abilities was even more rewarding. After the meeting, Logan took her to a nearby cafe. They sat at an outdoor table, and Olivia, now relaxed, ordered a cappuccino. You were amazing today, Logan said, taking a sip of his coffee. I was so nervous, she admitted, but it was exciting to be part of it. This is just the beginning. You're building something solid, Olivia. She looked at him, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. None of this would be possible without you, Logan. You believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. All I did was show you the way. The credit is all yours. Their moment was interrupted by a call from the housekeeper, letting Olivia know that Harper and Hazel were asking for her. Logan smiled. Looks like your little ones miss you. They're attached. They can't stay away for long, Olivia said with a laugh. When they returned home, the twins ran to their mother, hugging her tightly. Logan watched the scene, feeling an ever-deepening connection with the girls. He loved their boundless energy and how their laughter could brighten any space. Later that afternoon, Logan decided to organize a small picnic in the garden. Harper and Hazel were thrilled, helping to pack a basket with sandwiches, fruit, and juice. Olivia sat on a blanket spread out on the lawn, watching the girls run around with Logan. You're getting more and more comfortable with them, Olivia said as Logan sat down beside her. They're incredible kids. It's impossible not to grow attached. Thank you for being so good to them, Logan. They feel safe and happy here, and that's all I've ever wanted. Logan smiled. They're part of you, Olivia, and for me, that's enough. His words touched Olivia deeply, and she felt her heart race. She knew her feelings for Logan went beyond gratitude, but the fear of fully opening her heart still held her back. As night fell, Harper and Hazel finally grew tired and fell asleep in their mother's arms. Logan helped Olivia carry them to their room, and together they carefully tucked the girls in. As they stepped out into the hallway, Olivia paused, looking at Logan. You've changed our lives, you know that? You've changed mine too, Olivia. The intensity in Logan's gaze made her feel vulnerable, yet safe at the same time. She knew she could no longer ignore what she was feeling. Later that evening, while Olivia was in the kitchen preparing a cup of tea, Logan walked in. He stood silently for a moment, watching her, before stepping closer. Olivia, there's something I need to say. She turned to face him, her heart beating faster. What is it? Logan hesitated briefly but decided to be honest. Since you came here, my life has completely changed. You and the girls have brought something into my world that I didn't even realize was missing. I care about you, Olivia, far more than I can put into words. His words washed over Olivia like a wave, catching her off guard. For a moment, she didn't know how to respond, but then she smiled, her eyes glistening. Logan, I care about you too, but all of this, it's still so new to me. I need time. Logan nodded, respecting her honesty. I understand. I'm not asking you to rush. I just wanted you to know how I feel. Their moment was interrupted by a faint noise from upstairs. Harper had woken up and was calling for her mother. Olivia smiled and went to tend to her, leaving Logan alone in the kitchen. He sighed, looking at the abandoned teacup on the counter. Winning Olivia's complete trust would take time, but he was willing to wait. What he felt for her and the girls was worth every moment of patience. In the days that followed, the relationship between Logan and Olivia continued to grow, marked by small yet meaningful moments. With each passing day, Olivia felt herself opening up to him more, while Logan remained patient, giving her the space she needed to heal and trust. There was still a long journey ahead, but both were ready to face whatever came their way, together. The sky over New York was covered in thick clouds, signaling an impending storm. Olivia was in Logan's office, reviewing the reports he had asked her to work on. She felt more confident in her abilities now, but she still approached each task with the seriousness of someone who understood how much this job meant for her new life. Logan walked into the room carrying 2 cups of coffee. He placed one beside Olivia and sat across from her, observing her in silence for a moment before speaking. "You're doing really well. You know that?" Olivia looked up, surprised by his casual tone. "I'm trying, but I still feel like there's room for improvement. You're hard on yourself, and that's a good trait, but I want you to know I'm proud of everything you're accomplishing." Her cheeks flushed slightly, and she turned her gaze back to the computer screen. Logan's compliment felt like more than just professional praise. There was a warmth in his voice that she couldn't ignore. Time seemed to pass quickly, as their bond deepened naturally. Logan always found ways to show he cared, whether through small gestures or words that made Olivia feel special. On her end, she noticed herself gradually lowering the protective walls she had built, though she still kept a subtle guard up. One night, after the twins had gone to bed, Logan suggested Olivia join him on the mansion's terrace. She hesitated but let her curiosity guide her. When they arrived, Olivia was struck by the view. The city lights shimmered like stars, and the cool night air carried a calmness that contrasted with New York's usual bustling pace. Logan stood beside her, quietly admiring the way her eyes reflected the city's glow. "I used to come up here when I needed to think," he finally said, "but lately I don't feel that need anymore. I think it's because I've found something that brings me more peace." Olivia turned to him, sensing there was more behind his words. "What brings you that peace, Logan?" "You," he said without hesitation. His words took her by surprise, and for a moment she was speechless. Logan took a step closer, lessening the distance between them. "From the moment I saw you that night, something inside me changed, and as we've spent more time together, I've realized that what I feel for you is unlike anything I've ever experienced." Olivia's heart raced. She knew her feelings for Logan were growing, but hearing his confession out loud made everything feel more real. "Logan, this is all so new for me. I'm still trying to find my footing, to be strong for myself and the girls." "I'm not asking you to rush, Olivia. I just want you to know how I feel." She took a deep breath, looking into his eyes. There was a sincerity there that she couldn't ignore, and for the first time in years, she felt like it might be safe to open her heart again. "I feel something for you too, Logan, but I need time. I need to be sure I'm ready to move forward." Logan nodded, respecting her hesitation. "I'd wait as long as it takes." Their moment was interrupted by the distant rumble of thunder, signaling an approaching storm. Olivia looked toward the horizon, feeling the cool breeze on her face. "We should head inside before it starts raining," she suggested. Logan agreed, but the light in his eyes made it clear that this conversation had changed something between them. In the days that followed, the atmosphere between Olivia and Logan grew more emotionally charged. There was a subtle tension in their interactions, as if both were trying to find a balance between the personal and professional. One evening, Logan decided to surprise Olivia with a special dinner. He asked the housekeeper to look after the twins and personally prepared a meal for the 2 of them. When Olivia came downstairs and saw the elegantly set table, she was speechless. "You did all this?" she asked in disbelief. "I wanted to do something special for you," he replied with a smile. During dinner, they talked about everything: work, childhood memories, dreams for the future. The conversation flowed effortlessly, and they felt increasingly comfortable in each other's presence. "I never imagined I'd be here with this chance to start over," Olivia said, reflecting. "And if it weren't for you, Logan, I don't know where we'd be now. You'd be somewhere fighting, like you always have. I just had the privilege of helping. But it was more than that. You believed in me when no one else did. That makes all the difference." Logan reached across the table and took her hand. "I'll always believe in you, Olivia. Always." His touch was warm and reassuring, and Olivia felt the walls she had built over the years begin to crumble. She knew she still had her fears, but she also knew Logan was unlike anyone she had ever met. When dinner ended, Logan walked her to her bedroom door. For a moment, They stood in silence, just looking at each other. "Good night, Logan," Olivia said softly with a gentle smile. "Good night, Olivia." As she closed the door, she leaned against it, feeling her heart race. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to imagine a future where she wasn't alone. Logan, meanwhile, walked down the stairs with a smile on his face. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was willing to take every step needed to win Olivia's heart completely. That night, as the rain finally began to fall, they both fell asleep with a new sense of hope, as if the future was starting to reveal itself. Olivia and Logan's daily lives began to flow with a surprising ease that caught them both off guard. The twins were growing increasingly attached to Logan, and he, in turn, showed genuine affection for them. Yet Olivia still had moments of doubt, not about her feelings, but about whether she was ready to fully trust someone again. One afternoon, while Olivia was working on reports in the office, her phone buzzed on the desk. It was a message from an unknown number. When she opened it, she saw a photo of Logan talking to an elegant woman at a restaurant. The caption read, "Do you really know who he is?" Olivia's heart raced. While she knew Logan had a social life and professional contacts, the message unsettled her. The doubt she had tried to push away came rushing back. Who was that woman? And why would someone send her a message like that? Logan arrived home later that day, seemingly at ease. He found Olivia in the living room, with the twins playing nearby. He immediately noticed something was wrong. "Are you okay?" he asked, sitting beside her. Olivia hesitated for a moment before showing him the message. "I got this today." Logan frowned as he looked at the image. "That was a business meeting. She's a consultant we're hiring for a project." Olivia wanted to believe him, but the message had cast a shadow over her trust. "Why would someone send this to me, Logan? It feels like they're trying to warn me about something." "I don't know, but I can find out. Olivia, you have to trust me. I would never do anything to hurt you." His voice was steady, and his tone carried genuine sincerity. Olivia looked into his eyes and saw something she couldn't ignore, the transparency of someone with nothing to hide. "I want to trust you, Logan, but this caught me off guard. My whole life has been filled with disappointments, and it's hard to ignore that fear." Logan gently held her hands, giving them a reassuring squeeze. "I understand, Olivia. I won't pressure you. I just want you to know that I'm here to face anything by your side." In the days that followed, Logan investigated the source of the message and discovered it had been sent by a disgruntled former employee he had let go months ago. He showed Olivia the evidence, making it clear there was nothing to fear. Olivia felt a mix of relief and guilt. She knew she was still learning to trust, but she also realized that Logan was willing to do whatever it took to ensure her emotional security. One night, after putting the twins to bed, Olivia went to Logan's office. He was focused on some documents but looked up as she entered. "Can we talk?" she asked, closing the door behind her. "Of course. What's on your mind?" Olivia sat in the chair across from his desk and took a deep breath. "I want to apologize for doubting you. I know the message shook me, but that doesn't excuse my lack of trust. You've always been honest with me, and I need to be fair to you." Logan gave her a soft smile. "You don't need to apologize, Olivia. I know how hard it is for you to let your guard down. I'm here to help, not to judge." His words struck a chord, and Olivia felt tears well up in her eyes. "You're so different from anything I've ever known, Logan. It scares me, but it also makes me want to believe I can be happy again. Let's play a little game for those who only read the comments. Type Coca-Cola in the comments. Only those who make it this far will understand." Now back to the story. Logan stood and walked over to her, kneeling by her side. He gently wiped away a tear that had fallen down her cheek. "You can be happy, Olivia, and you don't have to do it alone." That night, something shifted between them. The walls Olivia had kept up for so long finally began to crumble. The days that followed were filled with increasingly meaningful moments of closeness. Logan continued to show patience and care, while Olivia slowly allowed herself to trust him completely. One afternoon, as they strolled through the park with Harper and Hazel, Logan watched Olivia playing with the girls. In that moment, he felt an unshakable certainty. This was the life he wanted. He wanted to be with her and the twins forever. When they returned home, Logan asked the housekeeper to watch the girls for a few hours. He took Olivia to the mansion's terrace, the same spot where they had shared a pivotal conversation months earlier. "Olivia, there's something I want to say." She looked at him, her heart racing. "What is it?" Logan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box, opening it to reveal a delicate ring. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you and the girls. You've brought light and joy into my life in a way I never thought possible. Olivia, will you marry me?" Tears filled her eyes as she covered her mouth in shock. "Logan, yes, I will." Logan smiled as he slipped the ring onto her finger before pulling her into a tight embrace. The storm that had defined the start of their journey had finally passed, and they were ready to begin a new chapter together. As the twins slept peacefully in the next room, Olivia and Logan talked about their future plans. A simple wedding full of love and a life built on the trust and respect they had worked so hard to achieve. That night was only the beginning of a journey filled with happy moments and challenges they would face together as a true family. Preparations for Olivia and Logan's wedding began simply, but with great meaning for both of them. Olivia wanted an intimate ceremony, surrounded only by those who were part of her new life. Harper and Hazel were thrilled at the idea of being flower girls, and Logan involved them in every detail, from choosing flowers to picking out dresses. Despite the joy that filled every moment, Olivia knew she still had to confront one last ghost from her past. While she had accepted that Jake, the twins' biological father, would never take responsibility, she felt she needed to face him one final time. "Logan, I need to talk to Jake again," Olivia said one evening while they were on the terrace. Logan frowned, concerned. "Do you think that's really necessary?" "Yes, not for him, but for me. I need to close this chapter once and for all." Logan took her hand, his eyes full of understanding. "If that's what you need, I'll be by your side." The next day, Logan managed to find Jake's address. Olivia decided to meet him alone, but she felt reassured knowing Logan was just a phone call away. When she arrived, she found Jake standing outside a small bar, visibly worn down by time and the choices he had made in life. "Olivia?" he said, surprised to see her. "Yes, it's me. We need to talk." Jake sighed and gestured for her to follow him to a table in the corner. He looked uneasy, as though hoping this wouldn't take long. "Why are you here?" he asked, his voice tired. "I'm here to tell you I don't expect anything from you anymore. You made your choice years ago, but the girls deserve to know that I did everything I could to give them the best. And now, I'm moving on." Jake sat in silence, staring at the empty glass in front of him. "I know I failed, Olivia, but I don't know how to be a father. I never did." "That doesn't matter anymore. They have someone who loves them as if they were his own. Logan is everything you never were and never will be." Jake didn't reply, but the look in his eyes showed he understood the weight of her words. Olivia stood up, feeling she had finally said everything she needed to. As she left the bar, she felt a lightness she hadn't experienced in years. When she got home, she found Logan in the yard with the twins, helping them set up a play tent. "How did it go?" he asked as she approached. "It went the way it needed to. Now I'm truly ready to move on." Logan smiled and pulled her into a hug. "I'm proud of you." In the days that followed, Olivia focused entirely on wedding preparations and her new life with Logan and the girls. She finally felt she had found a home, not just in a physical sense, but in the love she shared with Logan and the laughter of Harper and Hazel. On the morning of the wedding, Olivia was nervous but radiant. Wearing an elegant white dress, she looked at herself in the mirror, thinking about how much her life had changed. The twins, dressed like little princesses, burst into the room holding flower bouquets. "You look beautiful, Mommy," Harper said, her eyes shining. "Thank you, my darlings. You both look stunning, too." With her heart full of emotion, Olivia walked down the aisle where Logan was waiting. Their eyes met, and in that moment, all her doubts vanished. The wedding was simple, but filled with love and meaning. Every word in their vows reaffirmed the bond they had built, not just as a couple, but as a united family. When the ceremony ended, Harper and Hazel ran into Olivia and Logan's arms, squealing with joy. The future that once seemed uncertain was now a promise of happiness and togetherness. After the wedding, Logan's mansion felt even more alive. Harper and Hazel quickly adapted to the idea of having a complete family, and Olivia felt she had finally found her place in the world. Their days were filled with laughter and tender moments as she and Logan built their new routine together. On their first morning as a married couple, Olivia woke to the sound of birds outside the garden. She turned to find Logan beside her, watching her with a peaceful smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Bennet." She smiled, still adjusting to her new last name. "Good morning. Ready to start our new life?" "More than ready." The first months of their marriage were filled with gratitude and renewal. Logan supported Olivia in balancing her work and studies while continuing to be a dedicated father figure to Harper and Hazel. He made it a point to be present for every important moment in the girls' lives, from small school achievements to bedtime stories. One afternoon, while organizing some paperwork in the office, Olivia began feeling lightheaded. Assuming it was just fatigue, she decided to rest. However, the symptoms persisted over the following days. Logan noticed her exhaustion and insisted she see a doctor. "It's just exhaustion, Logan. I'm fine," she said, trying to reassure him. "It might be, but it won't hurt to check. I want to make sure you're taking care of yourself." Reluctantly, Olivia agreed and scheduled an appointment. She felt a bit anxious but didn't expect any major news. However, after the routine exams, the doctor delivered news that would once again change their lives. "Congratulations, Mrs. Bennet. You're pregnant." Olivia sat in silence for a moment, processing what she had just heard. Pregnant? The thought of having a child with Logan filled her with both joy and surprise. When she returned home, she found Logan in the living room, playing with Harper and Hazel. His smile reassured her that this was the perfect moment to share the news. "Logan, can we talk for a moment?" He noticed the seriousness in her tone and asked the girls to go play in their room. Once they were alone, Logan stepped closer, curious. "What is it, Olivia?" She took a deep breath, trying to hold back her emotions. "Logan, I went to the doctor today, and I found out I'm pregnant." For a moment, Logan was silent, processing her words. Then a huge smile lit up his face. "You're pregnant?" She nodded, tears in her eyes. "Yes, we're going to have a baby." Logan pulled her into a tight embrace, his heart overflowing with joy. "This is amazing, Olivia. I don't even know what to say." The following weeks were filled with excitement as they began preparing for the new addition to their family. Harper and Hazel were thrilled at the news that they would have a baby brother or sister, and eagerly helped Olivia pick out clothes and decorate the nursery. One quiet evening, as they watched the twins sleeping, Logan and Olivia reflected on everything they had overcome to reach this moment. "It feels like we've been through so much in such a short time," Olivia said, gently caressing her growing belly. "And every challenge brought us to this. I'm happier than I ever thought I could be." Olivia smiled, grateful to have Logan by her side. Despite all the hardships they had faced, they knew they were now building a life filled with love and hope. The pregnancy brought the family even closer together. Logan was attentive, always ensuring Olivia was comfortable, while Harper and Hazel could hardly wait for their little brother to arrive. Every detail of the planning was filled with care and joy. However, like any journey, there were moments of concern. During a routine checkup, the doctor advised Olivia to get additional rest due to a slight risk of complications. When Logan heard this, he became even more attentive, taking on many daily tasks to ensure Olivia could relax. "I don't want you to worry about anything except taking care of yourself and the baby," he said firmly but gently. Olivia chuckled softly. "You're spoiling me too much, Logan." "You deserve all the care in the world, Olivia." The months flew by, and before they knew it, the due date was near. On a calm evening, as a gentle breeze swayed the curtains, Olivia went into labor. Logan remained calm, though his emotions were evident, and quickly took her to the hospital. Hours later, the sound of a baby's cry filled the delivery room, bringing indescribable joy to everyone's hearts. It was a boy, healthy and strong. Logan held the baby in his arms, overwhelmed with emotion, while Olivia looked at them both with tears of happiness. "Welcome to the family, my son," Logan said, his voice thick with emotion. Harper and Hazel, who had been waiting eagerly in the hallway, were brought in to meet their brother. They were delighted, promising to always care for and protect him. Life at Logan's mansion felt complete. What once seemed like an unlikely family was now a shining example of love, unity, and resilience. Each challenge had made them stronger, and the future seemed brighter than ever. As Logan cradled the baby in his arms and the twins played nearby, Olivia felt she had finally found what she had always longed for: a home filled with love and people who would do anything for one another. What did you think of Logan and Olivia's story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Rate this story on a scale from 0 to 10. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to follow all our stories, and check out more heartwarming tales by clicking on the end screen.